thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies, and in this video we're going to be discussing Initiation, an article taken from The All-Seeing Eye by Manly P. Hall, Volume 5, Number 12, September 1931. Initiation. It seems that in disgust, the gods have girded up their loins and departed. At least they do not commune with men as freely as they did in past ages. Ruined temples and an equally ruined priestcraft are all that remain of a splendor almost inconceivable to this prosaic era. The oracles are silent, the sacred groves are deserted, and the modern representative of things spiritual engage in endless wranglings and controversies over jot and tittle. From the high pinnacle of our enlightenment we gaze down with patronizing sympathy upon those poor benighted heathens who were insane enough to reverence and cultivate the beauties of life, and were ever so stupid as to consider honesty a virtue. Of course, we do not use so many words, but these are the inevitable implications on such subjects. Action reveals belief, and no belief is real unless the actions which it inspires are consistent with its own substance. Thus, if men really believe in virtue, they would be virtuous. If they really believed in wisdom, they would be wise. And if they really believed in honesty, they would be honest. When a belief is so weak that it cannot impel action consistent with it, it has ceased to even be an abstract notion. There is never a time when idealism is actually extinct. There are always dreamers, some with vision, others only visionary. Of that small minority which does the thinking for mankind, there are quite a number who look forward to better times, a much smaller number who works towards better times, and a handful who through their spiritual development actually have realized better times as far as their own lives are concerned. By realizing better times, we do not mean that they have necessarily accumulated much of this world's goods, but rather they have released the gods within themselves and enjoy the greatest of all treasures, peace of mind. Students of metaphysics read marvelous accounts of the old mystery temples in which amidst solemn splendor, qualified candidates were raised into the light of truth. We would like to join in these solemn processionals, bearing aloft the standards of our gods. We would like to hear the instructions given to the initiates of the glorious robed Hierophant of the mysteries. Apuleius-like, we could be carried through the elements and be brought face to face with the immortals. With the untrained mind, it is but one step from a fancy to a fact. The student reads of initiates far into the night. In sleep he dreams of them, and in the morning awakens convinced in his own mind that he has experienced a divine adventure. Those who dream of initiations to come, and long for that day when for them the heavens shall open and the mysteries of the soul shall be made clear, nearly all overlook a very important part of initiation rituals. In all such great systems as the Orphic, the Eleusinian, or the Mythric, the ascension of man into the house of wisdom is preceded by the descent into the subterranean chambers of darkness, despair, and death. Years of suffering and preparation, hazards dangerous to life and limb, tests of the most exacting kind must be successfully passed by those who desire more knowledge than that which was the proportion of ordinary folks. The Druid Nephites of Britain and Gaul were sent out to the sea in open boats without rudder or oars, left to the will of Providence. If they were not drowned, they were accepted as favored by deity. In the Mythric initiation, the neophyte was given a short and inadequate sword and sent alone into the darkness to fight wild beasts. In some of the certain rites, seekers after truth were left to wander for days without food or water in subterranean labyrinths where monstrous apparitions appeared to them and tested their courage at every step. Machinery has been found under the Egyptian temples which reveals the priest employed many mechanical devices to increase the hazards of the initiation rituals. Thus, an unwary victim might suddenly find the floor open beneath him and his body hurled downward onto the upturned points of spheres. Artificial torrents were loosened upon to batter his body against the cavern walls, or the chambers especially prepared for that purpose. The walls would suddenly burst into flame, forcing the neophyte to actually dash through sheets of fire or else be burned alive. Through all these tests, those who aspired to the higher truths were expected to remain calm and poised, to reason out their courses of procedure, and escape the pitfalls by sheer force of intelligence, courage, and perseverance. Such as accomplished this were regarded as fit custodians of the spiritual secrets of life. How few modern seekers would cheerfully undergo such trials. All too many who claim to be highly advanced are incapable of surmounting the slightest obstacle or facing with equanimity the least discomfiture or disappointment, utterly lacking the stuff of which greatness is made. These persons look forward to speedy enlightenment or even affirm that they are already of the body of the elect. We must agree with the element whom Shakespeare makes to say, "What fools these mortals be!" It is true that the old temples with their subterranean horrors are gone, but new temples have arisen just as vast, in many ways just as great, and certainly fully as horrible. While life itself goes on, the mystery schools will continue, but the methods by which candidates for spiritual enlightenment will be tested and are modified to meet the needs of every age. About us now rises a great and mysterious structure. We can call it the Temple of Civilization. Civilization, like all sacred structures, was built up by men in service to an ideal, or possibly more correctly, in bondage to an idea. Our world rises up about us, a gloomy mystery of labyrinthine involvements, like the Mystery Temple. There are beautiful rooms above and terrible dungeons beneath. Its outer parts are gilded and adorned according to our noblest manner, but its foundations are being eaten away by dark creatures of the earth, and by the evils which men have cultivated in their quest for profits. Here is the new temple of initiation, where every day souls are tested to their greatness and integrity, and where the gods of tomorrow are fighting the wild beast of today's injustice and perversion. The new ritual is fitted for the new age. No circumambulating priest with lighted tapers, no invisible voices chanting hymns to strange gods, no glory, no jeweled crowns and pleated robes. Not much left in romance, but an abundance of facts in the temple of the modern initiate. The ladder still leads upwards to the stars. Man can still achieve his immortality, but the artistry and picturesque of the ancient religions have gone. Then, alas, we make a most unhappy discovery. We find that men are so interested in robes, crowns, and processionals that they practically refuse to be good without them. Some even confess that it was the pomp and not the virtue they were interested in all the time, and that they can see no great reason for inconveniencing themselves unless they be rewarded with a great measure of applause. Possibly, men can fight tangible adversaries in the dark better than they can oppose intangible ones in the daylight, but the fact remains that many who would go out and slay lions for the glory of God, and their own as well, will not be honest, generous, or forgiving in their daily community existence. At the present time, we are living surrounded by karmic circumstances which we have created by our own actions, and from which we are supposed to receive a liberal education and an education in liberty. A Tower of Babel built by greed and held together by crime is perilously near a collapse. The heyday of ulterior motive has passed as far as our civilization is concerned. and unless we make drastic efforts to correct the present evils, our days are numbered. The depression is the direct result of human selfishness as expressed through speculation, graft, and fictitious values, abetted by many lesser ills. At this time, those who believe that through study and thought they have came to a little better understanding of the laws governing life are faced with an opportunity to prove their intelligence by meeting the present condition in a truly philosophic spirit. Here is a great initiation, one of the greatest that the chemistries of life have ever precipitated. There must be a division of civilization. That part which has courage, integrity, and vision will go on to become the forerunners of a new race. The rest will vanish as have the races that went before. Can the philosophically minded individual take the present conditions and use them as opportunities for growth and rational achievement? The test of philosophy is its sufficiency in time of adversity. For to those who actually possess spiritual insight, there is an ever-present contentment and realization of good that are utterly independent of possession. The neophyte in the modern mystery is armed with the short sword of a little wisdom and launched into the darkness of an irrational world to fight the instincts of possession and selfishness. Having overcome these, the candidate has passed a real initiation test, just as surely as those in the caverns of the Mythric mystery. Our present financial crisis, revealing as it does the decline of our individual and national integrity, is not only a calamity, it is a supreme opportunity. Never has there been greater incentive to a betterment of the general condition, and those who meet the present crisis according to the highest standards, which they know must be the forerunners and pioneers of a better order of things to come upon the earth. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. If you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.